I've been saving money my whole life. And until I turned 50 years old, I had never once saved for something that made me happy. Every dollar I ever managed to put away was braced for something bad: the emergency, the car, the thing that breaks, the disaster I was always sure was coming because in my life something always was. I was so good at saving, but I was only ever saving against, never once saving toward. And at 50 years old, I did something that honestly felt almost illegal. I opened a savings account for joy, for something I actually wanted, and it changed my entire relationship with money. Let me show you how and why it matters more than any emergency fund you will ever build. Here's what nobody tells you about saving money when you had a hard life. There are two completely different kinds of savings, and they feel nothing alike. There's saving from fear. That's bracing. Every dollar is a sandbag against the flood. You're not building anything, you're just trying not to drown. And it never ever feels like enough because the fear is bottomless. You could have $10,000 saved and still lie awake at night, certain it'll be gone by spring. I know that woman because I was that woman. I could make a single dollar scream, and I still felt one bad month away from losing everything, every single day, for years on end. And then they're saving towards something, saving for a trip, a class, a life that's building. Every dollar is a brick in something that you actually want, and it feels completely different inside your body. It feels like hope instead of dread. Same exact $20, the same account even, but one of them is you flinching and the other one is you reaching. And your body knows the difference, even when the spreadsheet can't tell them apart. So for 30 years, I only ever did the first kind because when you are the only safety net that you've got, hope feels irresponsible. Joy feels like something you'll be punished for later. So you brace and you brace and you call it being responsible. And everyone agrees that you are. But here's what bracing for 30 years straight actually does to you: it teaches you deep down that money is only ever for surviving, never for living. And you can do everything right with your money, every responsible thing, and still arrive at the end of it with a life that you never once let yourself enjoy. Now, let me be very clear about what I'm saying here because I'm not telling you to stop having an emergency fund. You need both. The emergency fund is real and it matters. Keep it and keep building it. What I am telling you is that an emergency fund cannot be the only thing that you ever save for, because a life that is only ever defended is not actually a life. It is a bunker, and you deserve more than a bunker. A joy fund is a separate, on purpose pile of money that exists for exactly one reason: something good, something you want, not something you're afraid of. And here's the wild part: the moment I had one, I started taking the rest of my money more seriously, not less, because finally some of it was for me. Let me show you how to build one. And it's only 5 steps. And if you only ever saved against the next disaster and never once for something good, stay with me and subscribe. This is the channel where money finally stops being about fear. All right. So, step one: name the joy out loud and be specific. Not save more, not be better with money. Those are not goals. Those are just guilt wearing a goal's clothing. I mean, one specific good thing that you actually want: a trip to finally see the ocean, a class you wanted to take for 10 years and keep talking yourself out of, a piece of furniture that would make your home feel like yours. Name the real thing and then say it out loud. Because a fear fund is for everything and nothing, and that is exactly why it never feels like enough. A joy fund is for one named thing, And the second it has a real name, your brain quietly starts to believe it's actually going to happen. And that belief is half the work. And listen, your joy is allowed to be small. It does not have to be Paris to count. Maybe your name thing is a good mattress after years of waking up sore on a bad one. Maybe it's a coat that actually feels that you actually love. Joy is not about the size of the price tag. It's about the fact that for once, your money is pointed at something you want instead of something that you're afraid of. All right, step two, give it its own home and name the account. Open a separate savings account or use a separate envelope just for this one thing. Do not mix it with the bills. Do not mix it with the emergency fund. It needs its own place so you can watch it grow on its own. And then name it. Not savings. Name it the actual dream, the ocean trip, the studio, your own beauty salon, or what I named mine, the one I talk about all the time, the life I didn't wait for. Because when the account has the name of the dream written right on it, you stop rating it. You're no longer pulling $40 out for something called savings. You'd be stealing from the ocean, from your own studio, from your own beauty parlor. And it turns out you won't do that to yourself. The name protects the money. Mine has the name right on it, and every single time I see it, it reminds me what I'm actually doing. I'm not just saving, I'm building the exact life I spent way too long telling myself that I would get to later. All right? Okay, now step three, automate something small toward it. Same as everything else that I teach you, the amount that feels too small to even matter is the exact one that you'll actually keep up. $20 a week. $10 even, whatever number doesn't hurt your real life. Set it to move on its own so the joy fund grows even on the weeks you completely forget it exists, especially on the hard weeks. Because there is something genuinely healing about logging in on a terrible, exhausting day and seeing that something good still quietly grew while you weren't even looking. Proof that the good thing is still coming, even when today was awful. All right, step four, watch it grow and let it be proof. And here is where it gets completely different from fear saving. With an emergency fund, watching the number grow still somehow feels like pressure, like it's never quite enough, like the flood is still coming. With a joy fund, watching it grow feels like a promise to yourself that you're actually finally keeping. So check it on purpose. Watch the ocean get closer. Watch the studio get real. That feeling right there, that's the thing that retrains your whole nervous system around money. Money stops being the thing that you brace against, and it starts becoming the thing that builds you a life that you want to be inside of. I used to avoid looking at my accounts completely because every number in them felt like bad news waiting to ruin my day. Now I have one account I actually look forward to opening. That is not a small thing. That is a whole nervous system learning that it's finally safe. All right, step five. This is the hardest step in the whole video for people like us. When it's full, you actually spend it. I mean it. You take that trip. You buy the thing. You sign up for the class. You do not let the money just sit there because spending it on pure joy, it feels too scary, too selfish, or too much. Because here is exactly what survivors do. We save up for the good thing, and then right at the very last second, we get scared and then we tell ourselves we should probably keep it just in case, and the joy never happens. Or like me, when it was time to travel outside of the country, I said, oh, I need someone to travel with me. I can't go alone. And then we call that being smart. It took me almost a full year to spend my first joy fund. It just sat there, full, while I came up with reason after reason to wait a little longer. And one day it hit me that I was about to do the exact thing my whole life had trained me to do: save up for a good life and then never actually live it. So I booked the trip with shaking hands, and the world did not end. I got on the plane, I was going somewhere new alone, and I just got to be happy for once. No, you named it, you saved it, you spend it on exactly what you named. That is not being irresponsible. That is the entire point of the whole thing. A joy fund you never let yourself spend is just a fear fund wearing a prettier name. So spend the money, live the life that you already paid for it. Here's the truth underneath all of it. I spent 30 years completely convinced that wanting a good life and not just a safe one was a luxury I could not afford. That joy was for people with cushion, with parents, with somebody standing behind them, with generational wealth. And I had none of that. So I braced myself. For 3 straight decades, the first time I moved real money into an account I had named for something I simply wanted, my hands were almost shaking. And it felt selfish. It felt dangerous. Honestly, it felt like I was going to be punished for it somehow. But I was not punished. The exact opposite happened. For the first time in my entire life, money felt like it was on my side, like it was finally working for me instead of me just bracing under it. And nothing about my income changed that day. I did not suddenly have more. I just finally pointed some of what I already had at my own life. That was the whole shift. And it was everything. So if you have ever only saved out of fear, please hear me. You are allowed to build towards something good. You are allowed to want a whole life and not just survive one. You were never too much for wanting that. You were just never ever told that you were allowed. So that's the whole thing. Name the joy, give it a home, automate it, watch it grow as proof, and then actually spend it on the thing you named. And I want you to start this week. Name one thing out loud. Open the account, move the first $10 into it. Then I want you to come back and tell me what you named your account. I read every single one. And every name is a woman deciding that she is allowed to want more than just survival. And if you want the exact account I used to do this, the boring little high yield one that does the growing for you, I've got a whole video on it, and that's your next step. You don't need permission to start over, and you do not need permission to want joy. All right, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Webley, and you are in the right place. So remember to subscribe because I will be back in the next video.